Welcome to the NS9 Postgame show powered by Primanti Brothers. I am Ryan Alexander. With me is Neil. Pirates lose again, 7-6. Another ninth inning blown lead, swept to the Padres. Neil, they are calling it the homestand from hell. What's up?
I started laughing. Like when Bednar started letting people on in ninth, I just started laughing. Like at this point, it's gotten so absurd. Like so many blown bullpen games.
Yep. And
it really sucks. And like it comes down to two guys have just sunk our season. And that's the cruelty of baseball. It wasn't the offense. The offense has actually been scoring runs. It's that our two best relievers imploded. And that's been the story of the last week and a half.
I don't know if you remember. I'm going to go back here to 2011. This homestand reminded me of the homestand in 2011. I think it was in August, where the Pirates were like a couple games above 500. They were just kind of coming up to that end of the rebuild before the 2013 playoff years. Mm-hmm. And they went in against the Cubs and Padres and went 0-7 in the homestand. And now they went 1-5 in this one, but this is exactly what this reminds me of. Because pretty much when that homestand ended in 2011, the season was over at that point. And I'm pretty sure at this point, the Pirates season is officially over. The Brewers are up like 16-7. They're going to be 9 back of the Brewers all of a sudden. They're going to be 5 back at the wild card with about 5 teams ahead of you that are all better than you. The Padres just beat up on you. The Mets are better than you. The Diamondbacks beat up on you. Like it's the end of the road for the Pirates this year. But yeah, that's what this homestand reminds me of. Yeah.
It's similar, isn't it? It's not over because of how mediocre the National League is. But man, like if they don't go out west and win 6 of 7, yeah, that'll be the death knell. Like the Brewers are too good. The Mets are too good. Even if they get hot again, you just don't see this team passing 4 teams in the wild card.
No.
I think we're better than the Cardinals. But besides that, do I think we're better than the Mets? No. Are we better than the Diamondbacks? Definitely not. And the Padres, I think the Padres are one of the best teams in the National League. Like, it's unfortunate.
It is. And, like, yeah, they were within, I mean, up until – a couple of days ago, they were within striking distance, like 5-6 games of the Brewers, but now it's like, forget about it. You just keep blowing 9th inning leads. It's going to happen. But we'll get into this game here, Neil. Let's start with Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack, poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. I wish we could talk about the Olympics, Neil. Just break down some men's volleyball or something.
About to say, I mean, all I'll say is that you should go, if you haven't seen it already, go watch that Germany versus France handball game. Best way to spend an hour. That was awesome.
There you go. I say it, handball. The Summer Olympics is the only place like you'll ever see handball being played. Apparently it's offered. Jim told me it's offered at colleges. I've never seen it. I don't know.
I don't know a single person in college who played handball. I would have played it if I'd known it looks a lot of fun. But yeah,
good old handball. Anyway, I guess we got to talk about the Pirates. I guess we'll start in the ninth with this game. I mean,
I guess so.
The game was pretty boring early on. Like I literally, I think the first 5 innings you could sum up the game by saying the Pirates went quietly, because that's what it was every inning. It was just like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the game was kind of flying. And then just classic Pirates fashion, especially this week, things really got crazy at the end. But yeah, so the Pirates are trailing. Like literally, we're down 4-0 the whole game. They start battling back. Joey Bart once again, homer, comes up huge, which is another reason why, I don't know why he didn't pinch hit last night, Neil, but I digress. He hits a 2.
I agreed. I said he should have been pinch hit for too.
So Bart hits a 2-run home run. The Pirates take the lead. Here we go. Chapman comes out in the 8th. Chapman versus Machado, round 2. Chapman got him in kind of less dramatic fashion, but it was it got the job done, and Chapman closes out the 8th inning. Go to the 9th inning, and here comes Bednar, 1-run game, and I mean it wasn't even the Padres. I wouldn't even give the Padres credit here. It was just I think it was Bogarts has the weak hit down the third baseline that just dies. So infield single, there's nowhere to go with that. Bednar walks the next guy, gets a strikeout, walks another guy. So now you got bases loaded, 1 out. Ground ball to Cruz. No, it wasn't. Yeah, no, it wasn't Cruz. It was ground ball to second. Throw to Cruz, gets the out at second. Probably should have just held on to the ball, Neil. He tries to throw a bullet to Rowdy at first. Ball goes flying away. Throwing error on Cruz. 2-run score. The Padres take the lead. Shelton sticks with Bednar. Bednar gives up, I think, a double after that, and makes it 7-5. And that was pretty much it. Pirates did score 1 in the 9th, but just couldn't come through.
Really digging the knife in with that double, man.
Yep. So, where do you go from here with this bullpen? The Chapman's the only one at this point that's really on his game. And you mentioned to start off the show, it's the 2 guys. These are the guys you want closing games out. Like, this is the back of your bullpen: Holderman, Chapman, Bednar. And besides Chapman, he's the only one you can really rely on. Bednar's blown now a couple saves. Holderman blew like 4 in a row. He took like 4 losses in a row. He just went on the IL today. What do you think here?
It's so hard because there isn't really a place that you can go from here. Like, sure, they put Holderman on the IL. They have they have Ben Heller up in his place, but if you are a team where your 8th and 9th inning guys, your best bullpen arms, the guys that you are paid or you require to be the best ones in the bullpen, can't get outs and keep blowing games, you're not going to win many baseball games. They have not been able to close it down in tight games, and all of these have been extremely tight games. Like, all of these games we've lost that have sunk the season have come down to our high leverage arms, and both of them implode at the worst time. And like I said last night, Holderman and Bednar both have just completely lost it when we needed them most.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It really does suck because, Ortiz wasn't great today, but he kept you in the game enough going 6 innings. But Bednar completely blew the game open. And yeah, Cruz makes an error, but don't walk 2 people. Don't give up that double. Like, you are our 2-time all-star closer, and you have a 5.77 ERA this year. It's not good enough.
Poor Bucko Brett. Look at this. What a game to listen to while out on the tractor this afternoon. Yeah, that's brutal. Brownie and I think it was Walk, they just were beside themselves for most of this ending. But yeah, Bednar gives up 3. His ERA is now at 5.77. Nicholas finally comes in, gets the last out. And that's the thing. You could say, okay, get Bednar out of the closer's role. Let's just roll with Chapman. But then who are you pitching in the 8th, 7th, 6th? The bullpen's worked a lot this week. And you mentioned it with this homestand. It isn't even the bats this homestand. So they won one game. Yeah, one game this homestand. They scored 4 runs in the game they won. The losses, they've scored 8 runs, 5 runs. They were shut out once, and then they scored 8 and then 6 today. So, like, we said for months, like, oh, if this team could just score 4 or 5 runs, look where they'd be. Of course, the bats finally start showing up, and they're coming back in games and scoring 5 and 6 and 8. And, of course, the pitching just, like, completely falls apart. It's just you just can't win. You can't win with this team. It's something's always and that's I said on Twitter. I'm like, I don't like people keep telling me, oh, every team plays games like this. I don't care. Nobody plays as many games like this in the Pirates. Like
I was that guy. Like, and I'll stand up and say, like, that Diamondback series where you had like the Cruz 3-error game, like, and against Houston, and like you play a good Diamondback team. I'm like, you know what? We've been playing really good baseball. Sometimes these games happen. I'm okay with it. At this point, I'm laughing because this is like the 5th or 6th straight time that we've done this.
Yeah.
And it's like I guess the 9th straight bullpen loss. Like, I think this for like 9 straight game where the bullpen has blown the game.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Like as someone who was saying that, this is completely out of the question in terms of what good teams do. This doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Not this frequently, not in a month or a homestand. Like, it's getting absurd. And it's just, I mean, it's to the point you saw Bednar come out in the 9th and you're just like, how are they going to lose this one? And I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're thinking it. So the team's thinking it, and it just goes from there. Like, it's just, everybody has kind of lost focus. I don't know. Well, you mentioned Luis Ortiz. I mean, he gave up two run bombs early. But Machado started the scoring in the 2nd. And then David Peralta hit a 2-run home run in the 3rd. And it was, that was the 1st and 2nd inning. That's so it's 4-0. But hey, Ortiz hung on the game, somehow made it 6 innings, which was huge. And it came down to the bullpen again, and they didn't come through. And it's just I'm at this point, Neil, I'm apathetic. Like, I just the season's over in my eyes, and I
wasn't mad today. Like, I've been mad or upset like previous games, but at this point, it's just like it's comical, Like, when Joey Bart hit that home run to give the Pirates the lead, how excited were you?
Oh, ecstatic, but it was like
I wasn't even ecstatic. I was sitting there. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm bracing for the bullpen. And
what's next, right?
Yeah, like, and it sucks that like I'm thinking that way, but I mean, after the last week and a half, and after how today it went, I feel pretty justified. Like,
yeah,
which sucks because you got 3 relievers did their job today. Santana did his job, Beeks did his job, Chapman did his job. And then our 2-time All-Star closer didn't do his job. And it's a game of fine margins, man. It's a game of fine margins, and the Pirates haven't been doing the small things. They don't do the small things.
No, they don't do them well, that's for sure. That's like extra inning games. Like yesterday. Anytime it goes to extra innings, I know we're not winning, because you have to be fundamentally sound to win in today's game of extra innings, and the Pirates just aren't. But yeah, so Bednar, look, and Bednar's been up and down all year. His ERA is at 5.77. We saw, the start he had in April, but Chapman's gone through it this year. He struggled for a good portion of the time. Holderman's obviously had his struggles. Majinski, when he came back, was struggling. So we've seen these guys all go through spurts where they're struggling, but now it's like pretty much everybody but Chapman is like struggling. Like, if you got Holderman and Bednar, 2 of your horses in the back of the pen, both struggling at the same time, yeah, like you said, you're just not going to win many games, even when the team's hitting, and they were. And let's say kudos to the bats to just keep battling back, and even Ortiz to come back, and was he the one in the game that gave up like the 3 straight back-to-back home runs? That was him, right? And that
was Ortiz. Yeah, Ortiz had the 4 home run inning.
Yeah, and he a lot of pitchers would just like melt down after that, and he came back, and I think he got 6 in that game, and he did it again here today. Like, no, you don't want your starter giving up 4 runs right off the bat, but hey, he did. Yeah, because where would the bullpen be really? If oh my God, we'd be Ben Heller would have been in this game in the ninth if if Ortiz only had gone like 1 or 2 innings. But yeah, it's just nothing's going right. The team is just makes stupid errors. So let's go back to the Pirates are down 4-0. And like I said, the first 5 innings, it was just the Pirates are going quietly every inning. We get into the 6th inning, which seems to be like the Pirates inning this year. I've been trying to find the stat of runs per inning. They have to be leading it like in the 6th inning, but I can't. Was it Reynolds? Reynolds gets a hit. He's on base. Cruz doubles. I say doubles in quotes because he singles in Reynolds. Reynolds scores, which again, like it's always like if Reynolds and Cruz aren't doing anything, what's the offense doing? They come through. Cruz decides not to run out of the box until he gets to first when he was like, oh, I need to start running to get the second. Gets thrown out at second, which cost the Pirates a run right there because he would have scored on the next hit. So just, it's like a microcosm of what Oneil Cruz has been this year. Like he does great things. He drove in a run that was huge, but then he does something stupid like that and gets thrown out at second. Has the throwing error, in the ninth that he probably should have just ate that ball at second, let the game be tied, see if you can get out of it, throws it away at first, throwing error, and you lose the game. So it's just like the Oneil Cruz. I mean, hopefully, like I said, this is like his first like full season in the majors, and hopefully he just has to mature. He has to. They have to get smarter as a team.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't like to get like on Cruz too much because like he's one of the better hitters on this baseball team. He's probably the second best hitter, and I think you mentioned it when Cruz and Reynolds don't do much, the offense isn't really scoring. Like he's key, but yeah, no, he did not hustle on the second base. Hard to say that cost him because butterfly effect and all that. Like you don't know if what happens after that. But yeah, it would have been nice if he was there. The throwing error was bad. But I will tell you, it's hard for me to get too upset about him only because there's just so many worse players on this team for me to get mad at.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of where I am on Cruz. Like, I think you've seen the growth in terms of the bat. Like, I think you've really seen him become like a nice middle of the lineup type guy, a lot of home runs, being able to get on base. But no, he needs to work on his throwing, and we knew that was a problem when he came up.
Yeah, here, wrong comment I post there. As Juju Cass says, this game wasn't Cruz's fault. Neither of us are saying that. It's just the point of Cruz went 3 for 5 today, drove in a run, scored. Like he wasn't. This game wasn't on him. It wasn't even on. I wouldn't say anybody in the offense. It just goes back to stupid things that this team does that they're just not fundamentally sound. They do stupid things. Look at the 9th inning. Even when Bart leads off. Well, I don't know if it was he led off the 9th, but in the 9th he gets a hit. You're down 2 runs. You need somebody on, and you need a home run. You need more than one person on. Bart goes for second. It's safe because Arise drops the ball, but basically would have been out if the guy had the ball. Just stupid stuff like that. Like you don't need to go to second on that. So that's what I'm talking about. It's just stuff like that where you're in these 1-run tie ball games and your bullpen's struggling. Like you just need to be more sound to win games like this. And they're just it's just a dumb team overall. And it hasn't gotten any better this year. So I don't know. I don't know if
it goes we do it in spurts. We're so the Padres were giving us a lot of runs, and I think besides G1 Bay's inability to bunt, which I'm sure we'll get to, the Pirates have done a pretty good job capitalizing on the small ball and scoring runs off wild pitches, getting those infields. They have in those ways they've been somewhat sound, but then it's a team that can't get out of its own way. I think we said it earlier. I think I said it earlier in the year, but there's just a lot of losses where it's man, if the team could just do normal things, we'd be so much better. And that's why we're 2 games under 500 right now.
Yep. And like someone said, don't talk playoffs. I said it. When you're under 500, I don't want to hear any playoff talk. Those are the rules. Playoffs are done. This team, whether Ben Sherrington in the offseason not doing enough on the deadline, waiting around forever to do something at the deadline, whatever you want to blame it on, this team's not good enough. And
no, it's not.
The 2024 season is basically done. I'm calling it. So hopefully they realize that Skeens, Jones, Keller, like you only got these guys for a certain amount of time. So if you need to improve the team in the offseason, you just
that's the worst part is like, earlier in the year, everyone was freaking out because all the pitchers were dying, like having the arm surgeries. We've been blessed pretty much that none of those three guys have gotten an arm injury this year. There is no guarantee they stay healthy next year.
Right.
And so,
right.
I'm not going to be on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa too hard because he's been solid. He was 0 for 5 today, but him and De La Cruz just aren't good enough.
Yeah.
For what we needed.
No.
And De La Cruz again was terrible today.
Yeah.
I know he got one hit.
They needed to be more aggressive at the deadline, and they just weren't. I'm sure they didn't have permission to add payroll because basically with the move with Perez and everything, it was like a wash. So it just goes back to its ownership. It's Cherington. It's, Shelton, who I don't think you can go into 2025 with Shelton as your manager. But I wanted Ben Sherrington fired last year. So I was fine with firing them all right down the line. And it led into this offseason, and it's just, this is where we're at. I mean, this is what we have to deal with. And I don't know, about the bullpen. What cracks me up too is, they were saying about how Holderman, Shelton had the quotes that, hey, we're still going to go with him in leverage situations. He gives up, the tie game last night, which there wasn't many other choices to go to at that point when you were in extra innings. But right after that, now he hits the IL. So there's this phantom IL stint. And it's like, well, so was he injured the whole time and you didn't know about it? Or you just were burying your head in the sand? Like, which one is it? Because it's just, this team is like, they say one thing and then the next day he goes on the IL or they do something totally different. So it's like, you never know what to believe anymore. And it's just,
I adopted a policy a very long time ago of never trusting anything that from an official baseball spokesperson.
Right.
Because they're just PR trained to say whatever they feel they need to.
Yeah. They're not too transparent out there. So
it's always been that way. And no, I mean, you can't even blame Holderman tonight, but I mean, Bednar just come in with a lot cushier situations and giving up runs. But he's been just as bad. And it's a shame. Like, this team had actual potential. And ever since MLB.com said we were the third best bullpen in baseball, it's been a roller coaster all season.
Yep.
So even though you found a cool guy in Denise Santana, even though the Kyle Nicholas developed into a guy who looks good, that Majinski is still good, it doesn't matter because in a span of a week, Bednar and Holderman blew the season.
Holderman.
Obviously, more things go into that, but it's their direct fault that they lost these games.
Yeah, Holderman. I mean, you just 4 in a row or whatever it was, and now it's comical, like you said. How do you not laugh at it? If you don't laugh, you're probably crying or yelling or throwing something at your TV. So. This is our life as Pirate fans. I mean, this is it. And like I said, I'm not even ready to say Danny Santana is Denny Santana is a thing.
That's why I said he was fun. I said he was fun.
But all right, yeah. Now Nicholas, yes, I can get behind, but Nicholas comes in today. You could say, well, Shelton should have brought Nicholas in one batter after Bednar gave the game away. But Nicholas pitched 47 pitches like 2 nights ago. So
yeah, I don't think they wanted to use Nicholas unless they absolutely had to.
So again, it's like they're hamstrung from themselves because they had weird bullpen decisions the other night, and it hurts you today. So yeah, it's just a vicious cycle with this team. But yeah, I don't know if I've seen like people say, oh, every team plays games like this. Yeah, every team plays games like this. Do they play like 8 in a week or a week and a half? Like this is ridiculous. Like there's just no way. Like this stuff only happens. I've never seen a stretch like this. Never seen a stretch.
It's quintessential Pirates baseball.
Like you had leads late in games, like multiple, the whole homestand, and you just kept losing it. To teams that are in front of you at home, like you should win. I don't know.
So I'll just say 2 more things, but one thing, I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. Carson tweets out the chance losing all the last 5 games with the bullpen blowing it, to lose all those games with the win probability they had a 0.001% chance to lose all 5 based off of win probability, and the Pirates lost all 5. Like that's insane.
That's including today?
That is including today.
Okay. That's what I mean.
Because before today,
another stretch. I mean, another stretch that a team has done that in like the past 30 years.
Like before today, it was 0.01. Today moved it to 0.0, like an entire decimal place over. Like
if there's a chance, the Pirates will find a way to do it.
Yeah,
but that's an insane stat, and that's just what we're talking about. It's like this doesn't happen to the same team over and over and over again in like a week and a half time.
Yeah. But maybe a little bit of positivity. This is a complete eye test, but he did have 2 hits today and a walk. I think Brian Hayes has looked a whole lot, even with everything going on this past week, just the at-bats that Brian Hayes is taking, I think he's looked a lot better. I don't know if that's my eye test. Maybe it's me just looking for something positive.
Right.
But I genuinely, I was laughing too. Like when Hayes hit that screamer line drive down the line and it went inches foul, and you're just like, okay, so the guy just can't buy an extra base hit. Ends up walking. He walked in that at bat. I feel like he's taking much better at bats. The results haven't been there, but like I think he's been better over the last 2 weeks or so since the All-Star break, coming back from the All-Star break.
I'm with you. I mean, he has, like you said, he's not getting like extra base hits and things like that. Like the results really, but like, 2 hits today. I mean, his average is at 246, which compared to Bay, Triolo, and Michael A. Taylor, that looks great. His OPS almost at 600, Neil. It's almost there. But yeah, like you said, it's minimal gains here, but it does look, I mean, it's better than what we've seen from him this year. And I don't know what to make of him, because what we saw with him last year, like you had not high hopes for him, but you had better expectations for him going into this season. And my God, he was just so bad in that first half. So like it's like we know he can hit, like he's a better hitter than that. He just hasn't shown it. And I
think the results have gotten better because like he has been getting hits. I think the biggest thing he's been drawing walks. I mean, I just think if anything, the at-bats just look so much more competitive because like from like June into July, man, like a lot of those at-bats, like when he came up, it was kind of like automatic out season. Yeah.
This is that he's taking better at-bats, but the bar was so low for him. But hey, it's something we'll draw on, because what else are we going to talk about? But no, so Hayes 2 hits today. Roddy Tellez has 2 hits. He comes through in the 9th inning with an RBI single. Bart had the big home run that should have won the game. Put the Pirates up. He had 2 hits. Cruz had 3 hits. Reynolds 1 for 4. He scored. Like, the Pirates had 12 hits in this game. Like the offense wasn't the issue. 12 hits, maybe you'd like to see another run or 2, but when you're going to second and getting thrown out and stuff like that, that's going to happen. But yeah, when the Pirates score 6, 7, 8 runs like last night, like they should win these games.
If you're scoring 6 runs, you should win the game. Like sometimes you're not going to, but I think you read. I think you read it off earlier. Jim read it off last night. He keeps scoring runs, and I think what kills me is that the Padres kept trying to give us these games. The Padres are a good team. Don't get me wrong. Like they are a really good team. I think they're I think they genuinely have World Series potential.
And they're playing like they're coming on right now too.
The last 2 games, the Padres have handed us runs on wild pitches, bad fielding. I think that happened in the Diamondback series. It happened in the Astros series.
Yep.
And we immediately handed it back.
Yeah, we couldn't take advantage.
It's heartbreaking to watch.
And that's in that 9th inning too. The Padres didn't do anything. I mean, it was a ground ball to halfway to third that just died. Mm-hmm. Walk, and then a ground out to second that Cruz threw away. And then they got a double to add on a run. But like that, the Padres didn't do anything in that inning to like warrant a comeback. It was just Bednar walked guys, and then we had a throwing error. And it's just they just can't get out of their own way, like you said. So, I don't know. I don't have anything else, Neil.
No, that's all. Hayes was my last thing.
The very small.
We're praying to God that he's back.
We take it, right? We take it because he's the one. I mean, I've had all of them, Reynolds and Cruz. We know what they've done this year. Bart looks like he could hold down the catcher position. What depending on what you do with Henry Davis and Endy moving forward, or at least Bart could, I don't know, be DH or something. Bart, maybe his bat can play somewhere else in this lineup if catcher's not it. And then, but Hayes is they signed him to the extension, so you need him to be better.
And there's no one coming to replace him.
No,
not a single person.
And there's probably no one coming to take him if you try to trade him. I mean, we know the glove's there, but he's just been so bad at the plate. So you're kind of stuck with him for, I think at least next year. Cause like you said, there's nobody coming up to play third unless you go sign somebody. But then what are you going to do with, nutting type teams aren't going to pay somebody to sit the bench.
Exactly.
So Hayes is going to play.
You have to hope that he figures it out, because I think he's here until the last 2 years of his contract when it gets a little pricey. I also just don't think he's as bad as he's been. I genuinely don't think he's this bad of a player. So hopefully, and I know the Fort, like whenever usually is able to look at a guy's batting stance, see what they did differently. Maybe he's made a change. I'm terrible at seeing that stuff. I don't have the eye for it, so I don't know. But I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Even though the season's kind of lost now, and it was a little too late. Something's
not kinda. It's lost. It's officially lost. They lost it. Ben Cherington has lost it. All right, Neil. I think that's it. No sandwiches today. Apologies to everybody. Blame Shelton, Cherington, Bob Nutting. Send the regards to them. Thanks everyone though for tuning in. This homestand especially has been definitely group therapy this week, because it was the homestand from hell.
It was awful. I watched all 3 games. I'm so mad at myself.
Probably the worst homestand since 2011 when they went 0-7, and that season went down the crapper. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. Appreciate everyone. The guys will be on tonight. I think all 3 of them, Donardo, Jim, and Tyler, for NS9 Live. I think that's at 9:00. Does that sound right, Neil?
Yes. 9-ish.
9:00.
9-ish.
NS9 Live. They'll be on here, I'm sure, yelling about the season and where do we go from here. So thanks everyone. And we'll the Pirates are heading to the West Coast, so get ready. See ya.
See you guys.
Hey, you all. Thank you for watching. I know we try to provide the most entertaining content that we can, and we'd love to spread it to as many people as possible. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but if you could take the 5 seconds to like this video and subscribe to the page, it helps out so much more than you know. Thank you, and let's go Bucks.